Yep, it's a Rams video. I gotta do them. They're my favorite team, obviously. You can see in the background. That's my Rams crap. Obviously, I'm a big Rams fan. Yep, Rams 2023 roster grades. They're not a great team right now. Low expectations, but they've got some players still from that Super Bowl roster. Here we go. 2023 Rams roster grades. Yeah, no. Welcome back to NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. It's All-Star break in the MLB, and it's not a break for me because I gotta go through my favorite team. And not gonna lie, this Rams team is it's interesting because they've got 34 rookies. That's a lot. A lot. So not gonna lie, a lot of this team is a lot of projection based, and if you know like the players, it's a lot better. And thank God I do. First off, though, obviously, you haven't been around the channel. Yeah, we're doing roster grades at this point in the season. We've gone through a good amount of teams, not every team, obviously, but again, every single level of each grade, like a D plus and a D minus, the difference is depending on each grade. So, like quarterback, team identity, like those are the two most important parts of a football team, in my opinion. So for that reason, they're worth the most points per every grade. So there's a big difference between a D minus and A plus, like it should be. So again, 234 points for the Rams is average. I'd be highly impressed if I even get to that, but. Rams bias out of the way. Here we go. Let's get right into Matt Stafford and this injury-riddled Rams team. Here we go. And when looking at this Rams team, it's Rams quarterback situation is pretty simple. If Matthew Stafford stays healthy, he is an arguable top 10 quarterback, in my opinion at least. He is a very good player when he's healthy. He won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. He was a top, you could argue even maybe top 5 quarterback at that point. He had the best postseason run out of every quarterback, obviously because they won the Super Bowl. But more importantly, yes, again, Matthew Stafford is 35, which is not even really that old for a quarterback. It's not young, but it's not that old. And last year he was really accurate overall. He did have some slip-ups once in a while. He did hold the ball too long a couple times. Force-fed Cooper Kupp a little too much. More than too much. But 10 touchdowns, interceptions, these stats were skewed because he was playing better towards the end of that. Obviously, he basically screwed up his neck, got, I think, 2 concussions. It was pretty bad. Injury risks are now a thing with him, but I will be honest, I'm not super-duper concerned with him because when he's on the field, Matt Stafford is really good, and he's tough enough to the point where I do think his arm could be falling off. Like, again, that he did against, I think it was against the Browns. And he could win you a football game. So Matt Stafford, very, very tough guy. Outside of that, though, Dresser Wynn, as a 4th option at UDFA at a UTR, and he actually has a decent arm, little bit of mobility, but he just simply not going to lie, just doesn't really have many quarterback literal traits that are that great. Stetson Bennett, of course, he won the national championship at Georgia. 4th round pick, number 128. His arm isn't crazy, his athleticism isn't crazy, but he's a flat-out baller. And Brett Rippon, obviously, has played some games in the league. He rips balls all over the field. Those picks, those touchdowns, kind of what you get with him. So, overall, I don't think the Rams' backup quarterback situation is that awful, but Matt Stafford being there, if he stays healthy, I do think he could be a top 10 quarterback this year. That's just what I got with him. Well, let's get right into the great quarterback. Call Rams bias, but I still think Matt Stafford's a B-caliber quarterback. The difference between him, so let's put it this way. After 2019, with Matt Stafford on the Lions, he was probably a B-minus quarterback because, yeah, he was getting older. And, yeah, his numbers were a lot better with the Lions when he got hurt back in 2019. But the difference is he actually just won a Super Bowl and he's shown to be very clutch, and obviously he's been his whole career. But Matt Stafford, in my opinion, is a good quarterback at this point in his career. Yes, I get he's old in some people's minds, and injury risk is still a thing. I don't care. I gotta give him a B. Rams bias, eat it. 15, 30, 4, I think 40 points for Matt Stafford. Now let's get to the running back position. It's a little interesting, not gonna lie. And looking at this Rams running back room, obviously Cam Akers had a very good, strong end of the season. But other than that, outside again, and he said two even seasons he's played in, like 2020, 2021. Those 2022, the end of those 2 seasons were really good for him. Obviously, last year he really didn't get it going until like probably week 13. But Cam Akers, I do think is a solid back. You could argue he's probably bottom 10, but I do think this year he'll be a solid back for the Rams. He just has to get off to a fast start, which would be big for the Rams, obviously. So yeah, he's a pretty good back. Sony Michel, he was pretty underwhelming last year. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great. Again, it was basically the Rams starter back in 2021. He's not super fast. Again, he tore his ACL back at Georgia. not Georgia, but with the Patriots. He really hasn't gotten like a fair chance since he was with the Rams. I think he's a decent back. I mean, he's okay, decent backup. Like that's gonna go with him. Kyron Williams last year, he's kind of small. I mean, he can break tackles and he's a little versatile, but simply to be gonna be completely honest here, he's just small. So he's not going to make many tackles. But I don't think that's the end of the world with him. But he definitely did have struggle time getting out of the backfield at some points. And then Zach Evans, if you didn't know, his curvature, his curvature speed, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Brett Coleman over at and his channel and Bootleg Football talked about him a lot with this. And if you watch him play, that's what he does. He's an outside zone back. He'll be an outside zone specialist with the Rams. He's got decent hands as well. I would not be surprised if he at least gets 150 carries with the Rams this season. Overall, it's a pretty versatile backfield. Tony Michel is a power back. He's not a great power back, but he works. Cam Akers is kind of going to be their number one back. He's got to get at least 220 carries, in my opinion, from him in a successful season. Because the way he operates, at least in the way he plays, maybe not his like character or his mindset, but he is not at his best unless he's getting the number one reps and really getting a ton of reps. He's got to be that workhorse for the Rams if you really want to get the best out of him. Same thing with Kyron Williams. I think we'll sprinkle in there as well, but and he's a pretty good pass protector as well. But Zach Evans and Sony Michel, I think will be the other two pretty big runners for them. Overall, this Rams backfield has a lot of potential. I liked how Cam Akers ended the season, but I still got to give this Rams backfield a C+. There's decent depth, yes, but they truly don't have a running back who's had a good season. And even then, like Kyron, they don't have a guy who's, again, he's just straight up proven. I'm going to be honest, I have to give him a C+. It probably could be better, but, I might give him a B-, not going to lie. B- for this Rams running back core. That's what I got there, guys. Let's get right to the next position. What does that come out to? 9, 18, 21 points for that running back room. Time for the wide receiver core. It's a very interesting group for the Rams, not going to lie, at receiver. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is a top, in my opinion, he's the second best receiver in the league. In other people's eyes, he's not even that, but Cooper Kupp obviously got hurt last year. Again, I had the tightrope ankle surgery. If he can come back and do the same thing he did last year, he's the number one receiver in the league. Had very good numbers. Maybe got too many targets, but I do think if they give him the sheer volume numbers that he will get, I do think he can hit. Yeah, this might sound crazy. I think Cooper Kupp is good enough to break the receiving yard record. Will it happen? No, it just won't. But again, 2 years ago, he's coming off the best receiving season ever. It's not even close in my opinion. You just can't argue with the postseason run he had. With the straight up, he was the Rams' best player back in 2021. He was, maybe not best, most valuable player for sure. And again, wide receiver 2 is Van Jefferson. Last year, I thought his numbers would be better than this, but he was really more of a downfield threat, which the Rams really need him to be. But had that really good year in 2021 as the Rams' deep threat. I do think if Van Jefferson can continue to be that and maybe create more separation and be better against press, he could be a huge receiver for them. Again, against press, it's more on third down. He needs to be that. Ben Skowronek, very versatile receiver. His hands have gotten so much better. He's still not great, but again, he can block and he can play fullback there. I like Ben Skowronek a lot. Is he the third Rams receiver? I really don't know. Honestly, Demarcus Robinson, not gonna lie, he was the Ravens' number one receiver last year. But outside of that, he catches touchdowns. He's a pretty decent deep threat, but he's more of a physical type of dude. He does get open, can get downfield, but the problem with him is not the most consistent type of receiver. But I like the Rams added him. He's more of that veteran type of dude. Tutu Atwell, straight up deep threat for the Rams. I do think he'll be really good this year. The only problem is if he can't stay healthy, the Rams can't really use him like that. Puka Nacua, I think will be used like Robert Woods when he's on the field. He just needs to get a lot better with blocking, and again, he has to stay on the field. Had that really couldn't stay healthy at all at BYU, but he has so much potential, and he's a really good route runner. I like a lot with him. Obviously, outside of that, Austin Tremble, Lance McCutcheon are going to be, and Tyler Johnson even are just basically going to be there. Tyler Johnson maybe will get some targets, but outside of that, they really have 6 receivers that are going to be doing the show. Obviously, top 5 receiver at the very worst, number 2 receiver in the league in Cooper Kupp. Van Jefferson's not a bad guy, or the rest of these guys. I like the Rams receiving core. For the Rams, screw it. I gotta give him a B+, because Van Jefferson, I'm not gonna lie, he is a solid receiver. Is he a number 2? Maybe not, but Ben Skowronek and Demarcus Robinson, they'll mold into a number 3. The Rams have enough receivers to the point where, again, they have good depth, but just having Cooper Kupp alone is so good. He's my favorite player. If the Rams trade him, I'm not going to be happy, but just wide receiver core, Cooper Kupp alone raises the bar so high for this Rams receiving core. It's a good group. That's what I got to say. I mean, not as good as last year's and the year before, but I still think it's a pretty good group. That comes out to 9, 18, 27 points for that receiving core. Time for the tight end position. And looking at this Rams tight ends, it's a pretty deep group. So let's start out with Davis Allen, who was the 5th round pick out of Clemson. Not really gonna be the best overall straight up downfield threat as a tight end, but He's got a good possession game, and not only that, though, actually underrated speed. Just the fact that he can't go up and catch the ball all the time isn't great. His blocking could use some work, but I like the Rams drafting him there. As well, Hunter Long, again, for the guy they got for Jalen Ramsey. I don't know what to say. He hasn't done anything in his career. I mean, at Boston College, he was decent, but, yeah, he's kind of just there. Bryson Hopkins, weird type of tight end. He was actually taken in the 4th round. You could argue he was the best tight end from that 2020 draft, but in my opinion, he's just kind of like a guy you can put in as a blocker once in a while. He's got some pretty good speed, can be a decent threat downfield, but he's not very consistent. And again, Tyler Higbee, who's been their starter for at least 4 years now, very good tight end. I think you could argue he's a top 10 guy, but very solid. There's nothing to really complain about other than the fact that maybe he doesn't catch enough touchdowns. But he's a very solid blocker. There's not much he doesn't do wrong. Again, there's not much he does insanely well, but Tyler Higbee is a very solid tight end for the Rams. And a tight end for the Rams, I gotta give him a B-. Here's why. Outside of Tyler Higbee, I really don't know if there's like a really pure really good tight end. But what is it called? Tyler Higbee is a good tight end. He's not like B+. I don't think he's there yet because he really hasn't had an elite season at all. But he's shown flashes obviously throughout his career. He's a very good player. I'm gonna be honest, probably. You could argue B, but I could give him B- because their depth they've got guys, but like Davis Allen's probably their highest potential there. Like, there's not a ton of like great talent there, but I like the Rams tight end. You know what? I'll give him a B. I like the Rams tight ends. That comes out to 6, 12, 16 points for tight ends. Oh God, let's get to the offensive line. It's pretty safe to say Rob Havenstein's the only offensive lineman on this team I'm comfortable with, and probably Steve Avila, who if he stays healthy, I think will be pretty good. But outside of that, I mean, yeesh. Because Joe Noteboom, outside of that one game against the Bucs in that divisional game where he clutched up, he's been anywhere from mediocre to god-awful. I mean, he hasn't really been god-awful since I think he had one really bad game last year. But in 2019, he was just terrible. But last year, I mean, like, he was okay, man. He's not great. Alric Jackson's a good player. I like what he's been able to do, just super raw so far. A.J.R. Curry isn't terrible either. I don't even know if he'll be on the roster. Steve Avila, though, again, that 2nd-round pick. Very good pass blocker, I'm not going to lie. Probably the best pass blocking interior offensive lineman in the whole draft. Not as good as any of the tackles, but he's a very solid pass blocker. His run back could use some work. He does run out of stamina pretty easily. Do think the Rams will put him in shape, though. Brian Allen, he just can't stay on the field, and he just wasn't great last year. I mean, 2022 he was solid. I mean, 2021 he was solid, but I do think he'll get back to that. Brian Allen's fine. Coleman Shelton, versatile, but he really doesn't do anything well. Not like that's kind of what you get there. He's a decent player, but like good depth piece, but he doesn't do anything really that well. Mike McAllister, Youngstown State, UDFA. No idea who he. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't really gotten to watch his tape yet. Pretty unknown there. Logan Bruss, again, towards ACL. He was the Rams' top pick back in 2021, too. I mean, yeah. It's very unfortunate what happened to him, but I do think if he stayed healthy, the Rams' offensive line would have had a much different season. He's a very good player, at least as a prospect. We'll see what he can do in the league. Warren McClendon, 5th-round pick. He was good as a right tackle for Georgia. I mean, he didn't really have to do a ton because Stetson got the ball out a lot. He's very good at setting the edge, though. I'll give him that. Tremaine Akram Jr., okay. He's been on the Rams team for a while. And then Zach Thomas is there as well. Overall, it's a pretty thin offensive line for the Rams. It's not great. It's not awful, but it's whatever. Just because of how bad the Rams' offensive line was last year, and they just don't have, again, outside of Steve Avila and Rob Havenstein, who is a pretty solid tackle, this Rams' offensive line is not good. I'm sorry, and just how awful it was last year, I gotta give them 6 points here. I think they'll be able to figure it out, but just straight up talent-wise, the Rams' offensive line stinks. I'm sorry. 6 points, time for the overall offensive grade. Rams' offense, they actually come out to a B- as an overall grade. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if you look into this Rams team, outside of this offensive line, which is a problem, if the Rams offense stays healthy, they're going to be pretty good. I'll just put it like that. I mean, the offensive line might not be great, but I do think that, again, Sean McVay is going to have to adjust. He's got to figure out how to use this offensive line correctly. They've got pretty decent pass blockers. I don't know how the run game will work out, but the talent comes out to a B-. I'm not going to say anything else. I mean, many people might think this is crazy, but not going to lie, their offense is actually a lot better than people give them credit for, even on paper. This defense, on the other hand, not so much. And the Rams do run a 3-4 like they've done for a long time. Again, Raheem Morris is their DC, who's been pretty good his whole career. It's not good. I'm just going to be honest though. This defense is not good. Ernest Jones is a starting caliber linebacker. I mean, he's not great in coverage, but he's a solid tackler. He was really good. Honestly, he was really good for the Rams last year as a starting player. He is a very good player. I like him a lot. So yeah, Ernest Jones, very good linebacker. Christian Roseboom, actually, I mean, in the small amounts of snaps he got and the way he played in preseason, isn't the worst guy in having the field. Is he a backup? Definitely, but he's not like the worst guy you could have starting. Jake Hummel, not like I haven't not seen him really at all, but he's there, I guess. He's pretty athletic. Kaligi Amajubakuki Incarnate Ward, no idea who this dude is. That's not good. I look at the Rams roster a lot. No idea who this dude is. I've never heard of him. DeAndre Square out of Kentucky, the rookie. I actually got to watch a lot of him. Very solid in coverage. He actually got hurt, if you didn't know. That's one of the reasons he didn't get drafted. But he's very good in coverage. I like why the Rams drafted him there. I mean, I like that the Rams picked him up. Ryan Samidi Moore Jr. out of Wake Forest. Didn't really get to see much of him. Kind of a nobody, not going to lie. And Jaden Woodbay out of BC. Watched a little bit of him. He did not stop the run good against UConn. But otherwise, I mean, again, outside of Christian Roseboom, who I think is a backup caliber player, and even Ernest Jones. Yeah, probably Jake Hummel even, but the Rams they got no depth here. And even then, it's not great. So, for this Rams linebacking core, I'll give them a C+, because, again, Ernest Jones will be fine, and just having that, I think, is good. The Rams linebacking core, I'll give them a C. I want to be nice because Ernest Jones is good, and outside their edge rushers are so bad. I'll give him a C. Again, we don't really know yet. 15 points for this linebacking core. Time for the defensive line. I'll cut to the chase with Aaron Donald first. Aaron Donald last year was still an elite player. He was. Me, 5 stats. He sucked. No, he didn't suck. He was good. He was actually elite, but he wasn't as good as he was in the years past. I'll give you that. But he's still the best, honestly, maybe not the best defensive player, but he's the best interior defensive tackle in the league. He is. Still is. I do think this year, he will show up. One way or another, he'll show up and he'll be, again, I do think just against maybe they won't, I do think he'll somehow, some way, keep this Rams defense promising. Aaron Donald is still elite. Kobe Turner, on the other hand, 3rd round pick starting at Wake Forest, decent run defender. That's kind of about it, though. He can at least maintain leverage, but that's kind of reaching there. Bobby Brown III, again, he took roids last year. He was out for a while. I do think as a player, though, he's pretty talented. It's lagging right now. But on the other hand, Jonah Williams, he played a little bit last year. He was pretty good, pretty athletic. Ernest Brown, even, the Rams, I like what he's done. Marquise Copeland was probably the Rams' most reliable defensive lineman by the end of the year. Teron Vincent, at Ohio State, UDFA, didn't really do a lot there. He was decent in run defense. That's kind of it. Lil Murchison and Deshaun Johnson again. What is it called? Mr. Irrelevant, who I honestly think will get maybe not that much playing time, but at least some playing time. The Rams, I'm not gonna lie, outside of Aaron Donald, I'm not super confident. But this defensive line really isn't that bad. Even Ernest Brown could be worse. Yeah, I think this is an okay defensive line. Aaron Donald makes it a lot better than it seems. Because if they didn't have him, it'd be pretty bad. Okay, for this defensive line, I'll give them a C+. I get a lot of people give me backlash for this, but the depth is pretty decent, and they've got guys who can do a lot of different stuff. It's going to be a lot of rotating. Again, you can't keep Aaron Donald out of the picture. You cannot underrate him. I do think this year he will be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. For that reason, I think this defensive line, on paper, I think it's a C+ because Aaron Donald's just that good. He's the arguable best defensive player of all time. I got to give him, 18 points? No, what the heck? 12 points for that defensive line. Time for the pass rush. Oh, God. So, I like Byron Young a lot. Doesn't have too many moves, but he's super relentless, and he has pretty good athleticism. That's why the Rams took him in the 3rd round. Out of what is called Tennessee. What the issue, another issue with him is, he's kind of raw, and you have him starting. That's not the greatest thing. Michael Hoyt is not an edge rusher. He should be playing defensive line. Pretty good pass rusher, yes, but he cannot contain the edge, or his eye discipline is god-awful. That's why he should be doing that. Nick Hampton, pretty good at dropping out in coverage, but that's kind of all I know about him. Not going to lie. Keir Thomas, Daniel Hardy, okay, and O'Shane Mathis, okay. Can't even pronounce this guy's last name. Yeah, Aaron Donald will get some pressure, but, oh, God. Aaron Donald probably keeps them from getting an F, but I'll give the Rams pass rush a D. Because, honestly, the Rams pass rush one way or another won't be the end of the world for them. It's not good. It's pretty awful, not going to lie. But Michael Hoyt will get pressure. He will. Byron Young, maybe not all the time, but he'll figure out a way to get a sack or two. Maybe not every game, but once or two, every other game, he'll probably get a sack. And Aaron Donald, one way or another, will get very good pressure. D. I get Aaron Donald could be the only guy out there, and he'll figure it out. That's, again, you can't stop him all the time. Like, 8 points, it's pretty awful, but at least they have Aaron Donald. That's what I got. Time for the cornerback. All right, we'll wait. Robert Rochelle didn't really play at all last year. I don't know what the heck was up for him. He played a little bit in 2021. He looked decent with the Rams. He's okay in man, better in zone, but I definitely think they're not gonna lie. The Rams really don't have a true man-to-man corner. But Robert Rochelle is solid. He's not gonna be great, but he'll be okay. Sirius Tomlinson, of course, playing for TCU, 6th-round pick. He showed a lot why he's a good slot guy. He's a pretty good tackler, but he's just small. Like, straight up tackling, he's not, like, again, I do think technique-wise he's a good tackler, but in coverage he's pretty decent, but he's just small. Yeah. Darian Kendrick, he actually started a little bit for the Rams. He can't really play anything but off, and even off isn't great. But he will be the type of corner that won't give up big plays. Because, Darian Kendrick, he's a very conservative player, but he'll get the job done. Akello Witherspoon can't really stay healthy, but he's played in a lot of places in his career. With the 49ers back in 2019, he really his only opportunity is kind of a starter. Not really, but he was okay, I guess. 2018 kind of. He's a good veteran. He's just okay, I guess. And Kobe Durant, who I do think is the Rams' best. I think he'll be the Rams' most important defender, at least, because he can play anywhere in the secondary. Anywhere. And, yeah, is his man coverage great? No. But I think he will get better, and I do think I do think that Kobe Durant will be I think he'll be a top 10 corner this year. I know that sounds crazy, but Kobe Durant, I have a lot of expectations for. I like him a lot. His cornerback room isn't crazy great, but they probably don't have number two. I love Kobe Durant so much, but they've got some good versatility here. Just don't really have a guy who can straight up play man. This Rams cornerback room, I'll give him a C- because, yeah, Trey Davis, Hodges Tomlinson is just not going to work really as a guy you want to see outside of dime, maybe, and even nickel if you're lucky. Robert Rochelle, I think, is fine. Jared Kendrick is a liability because he's an easy target there. Akello Witherspoon will be okay, and again, Kobe Durant I think will be decent, but again, we just haven't seen this group play together. I'm a little concerned there, and there's really not a really established corner on this Rams football team. I got to give him a C-. I might give him a C later, but I'm going to keep him a C- for now. That comes out to 8 points for that's cornerback room. Time for the safeties. And at safety for the Rams, Russ Yeast was a menace last year in the secondary in the short amount of time he got. But his ball skills are pretty awful for a free safety. He's not going to be the guy that you want there. Obviously, his tackling could use some work as well. Jason Taylor at Oklahoma State's a good player. Not the fastest, not the most athletic, but he's a smart player, and he can really jump routes well. Quentin Lank's okay. He played a little bit last year. He looked okay. Again, he looked pretty okay. I like him a little bit. And then Jordan Fuller, who's probably, again, he struggled a lot with injury last year, but he's been really solid the other 2 years. Again, was ridiculously good in terms of keeping running backs from getting big runs against the Rams in 2021. He was huge for them there. Yeah, is he going to be the most impactful in terms of coverage? No, but in run defense, he caps plays. Like, you're not going to get any big runs against the Rams when he's on the field, because you're just not going to not only get by him, but he'll tackle you every single time there. Very good tackler. Outside of that, though, Quando Johnson, Richard LeCompte III, Tanner Angelo are basically all special teamers, so that could be a little better. But overall, this safety room, it's not good, but it could be worse. If this Rams safety room, I'm going to give him a D+. Again, Jordan Fuller just couldn't stay healthy last year. Russ Yeast really hasn't gotten any true time as a starter. He didn't look. Again, his ball skills are just abysmal. He's a decent in coverage though. Quentin Lake, Jason Taylor, we don't know really a lot about at all. So it's really a lot of question marks here. So I like a lot with Jordan Fuller, but that's kind of it. I got to give him a 9 points here. Let's get his overall defensive grade. This Rams defense comes out to a D-. No, they're not that bad. I'll give this Rams defense a D+. it's just so young, and there's really, outside of Ernest Jones, Kobe Durant, and Aaron Donald. Again, Aaron Donald's that good. There isn't a really established good defensive player. Like, yeah, he's solid. I expect a lot of him. Outside of that, though, really can't expect anything. That's why I gotta give him the D+, because there really is another team that has 8 question marks as starters. I mean, Jordan Fuller, yeah, he's good, but he just wasn't healthy last year. I can't, again, with him, his injuries were not good. So, I gotta keep that in mind there. I mean, I like what they're gonna be able to do with Raheem Morris, but the talent level just isn't that great. Time for the special teams unit. Okay, Tanner Brown is a good kicker. I think he'll be good at Oklahoma State. He was very solid with the Oklahoma State every single year of his career. But the Rams, last time they had rookie kicker Sam Sloman was awful. So I don't know what to expect. Ethan Evans, he should be great. I have no concerns about him at all. He has a huge leg. Tutu Atwell should be a good returner if he can stay healthy. Alex Ward, rookie long snapper to UCF, no idea what he can do. But it's a lot of youngins in this special teams unit, but I do think at least worst case Ethan Evans gets on the all rookie team for kickers. I mean punters. That's all I got. A lot of question marks in this Rams special teams unit, but they were a lot better last year than people gave them credit for. Yeah, losing Brandon Powell isn't great, but Tutu Atwell does bring a bigger ceiling for them there. And you don't give them a D+, because again, it's just a bunch of rookies. 3 points for that special teams unit. Time to look at the Rams' depth. Okay, quarterback depth is honestly probably better than last year. I'll give them a C+. Running back depth, B. It's a good group there. Wide receiver depth, B. Tight end depth, C+. Offensive line depth, D+. It's better than last year, but it's still not great. So, offensive depth, probably going to come out to a C. So, they're not too thin, but they're whatever. Linebacker depth, F. It's not good. Defensive line depth, probably a B-. Pass rush depth, there really isn't much pass rush in the first place, so C-. No, probably D+. Cornerback depth, it could be better, probably a C-. Safety depth, C-. Defensive overall depth, probably like a C-, maybe a D+. It's one of those two. Look at this Rams depth. It's okay, but it's a bunch of rookies. So I might just give them a D+. That's just probably what it comes out to. So Rams, you get 12 points for your depth. I like your team, but it's just like last year, it just completely fell apart. They're better than they were last year, but the Rams are still not that deep. Time for the identity. Alright, when you have 34 rookies, you don't have an identity. You just straight up don't. But I am very confident that Raheem Morris will use his 3 best defensive players to basically run the show. First off, the defensive line will be specifically there to plug holes in the run game, 3 tech, stuff like that, and basically clear holes and run stunts for Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's going to be the whole interior pressure. The other guys are just going to have to figure out ways to get the quarterback off of him. The edge rushers, their job are basically just don't mess up, don't give up huge runs on the outside, huge holes on the outside, and if you can and you have a good opportunity, beat tackle to the outside, because they do have fast edge rushers and that have good bend. Cornerbacks, I'm not gonna lie, just don't get burned and let the Kobe Durant be the guy in that cornerback room. Safeties, pretty simple, tackle well and play off. That's kind of what I got. That's what the Rams should be able to do here. Again, I think they're going to force more turnovers than last year, but this defense is going to be they're going to rely a lot on making the right plays, which is not always easy. So it's going to be interesting. Offensively, at least, again, Matt Stafford's going to be wanting to throw the ball. Let's hope they don't throw it too much. Cam Akers got to get a ton of carries. Sean McVay knows that. Cooper Kupp's got to get his targets, obviously. But I think this offense, I think they're going to be able to know what they're due. Work around the offensive line, get them in the right scheme. Zone blocking schemes will work really well with them, obviously. But I do like a lot with this Rams offense. I'm pretty confident with the Rams offense. The defense, though, it's again relying on making the right plays. And not gonna lie, the identity is a little unclear with all those rookies. You just don't know. But I am confident enough in this offense to give them a C-. I think the Rams know what they want to do. I just don't know if they can do it. So 16 points there. Time for the overall roster grade. Oh God. And the Rams roster grade comes out to a D+. I'm going to give him a C-. Oh, should I give him a C-? No, I'll give him a D+. The Rams roster, talent-wise, if you have 34 freaking rookies, unless you have a super team outside of that, there's no way in heck, I mean heck, you're getting anything but over a D+. I'm sorry. That's what I got here. Lower the expectations. This Rams roster on paper is not good. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts of this team that are in the D range. That's not good. I got to give the Rams a D+. I mean, offensively, I like what they're going to be able to do, but defensively, they're really bad, at least in terms of talent-wise. And it's a thin roster. That's what I got. I like what the Rams are going to be able to do, but I can't ignore the fact that this is just not. It's not the same team. It's not. But I do think they'll be a lot better than this indicates. So yeah, D+, 193 points to this Rams team. That's all I got, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Here's he's Baker. No, it's oh yeah, Ronald Jones, a former Bucks player. 98-yard touchdown. Hope you guys enjoy.
Jones gets by. Ronald Jones may go all the way. Being chased from behind. Does Jones have enough? Still on his feet. Ronald Jones, 98-yard touchdown.
Wow. Nice job using the scoreboard as he's running down the field to see where the defenders are coming from behind him.